Welcome back to Edgework, presented by FanDuel as part of the Hammer Betting Network. I'm Alex Moretto, joined here again today by So Money Sports. You know the drill by now. We're going to be here to break down yesterday's games, look ahead to tonight's games, make some bets, fire off some anytime goal, score parlays, and just have a good time. So Money, how you doing this morning?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm excited about the games tonight, and I'm ready to go, guys.
All right. We'll touch quickly on last night's games. We will start with the Leafs Panthers game. Not a ton of thoughts from that one. I think it played out kind of like I expected it to play out. Florida's forecheck had the success that you would have expected it to have. They definitely, got after the Leafs defense. They had a ton of ozone time, a ton of 5-on-5 opportunities. Obviously the expected goal share, it was, very heavily in their favor, but the Leafs played the type of game they needed to play. It felt like, I don't know how many people or like yourself or, people in the chat, if there's much of a crossover between like soccer and hockey here. But like, it felt like one of those games where you have a team like that plays a ton of possession and like is, getting after, and you got a team that's hem back, but they just hit back and score on the counter just each time.
Yeah.
Just every time they get an opportunity. The Leafs are really good in transition, and Florida needs to obviously solve that because the Leafs did not generate much at all in terms of like possession and stuff like that. But when they had an opportunity in transition to get up the ice quickly, they were able to get up the ice quickly, and they were able to get some really, really good looks, and they were able to capitalize on those looks, and Florida obviously gets burned as a result. We'll see if Maurice, who has been very good at patching up, those things and making adjustments, we'll see if he can make those adjustments ahead of game 3. We don't need to get to game 3 yet. Obviously, we'll talk about that tomorrow. I don't know if you did a little look to that line and where it's at right now.
Of course I did.
Oh my God. That is a big number tomorrow night. I did end up with a little bit of Leafs last night. Part emotional hedge, part like this line is getting a little crazy now. So that was good. And yeah, I'm getting to a point where I'm like, I might end up with some Leafs in game 3 too. But we'll get to that next. We'll get to that tomorrow. We don't have to talk about that right now. I'll let you take the floor here. Your general thoughts on that game and the series so far.
Yeah, the transition game really stood out to me as well, and I think that starts from them being better moving the puck on D, right? So they don't have when you look at their defense, right? They don't have a classic defense in the sense of like having cup winning pedigree, but what they do have is a very good defense that works together within the structure of the system that Berube has implemented, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was reading an article a few days ago about how Berube did implement a different system than what Keefe had, and like it did take a while for like the players to kind of adjust and to buy in. And once the results started coming in, of course, winning is going to make you buy into any system that gets implemented. So it did take them a while, but that defensive core is working together right now. So that's fun to see. The other thing that stood out is that we've talked about this a few weeks ago, I think now, about Bobrovsky's beating him high, right? It was I think that we first touched on it a couple of months ago, actually, where like the book is starting to come out on him a little bit, right? Where as he's getting older in his career, we're kind of seeing him a little bit slower to cover the top, like the top side of the net. And if you can have skilled shooters, I think you can take advantage of that. So it's clearly a concerted effort by the Leafs right now to be shooting high on him. Like it's pretty obvious to see. They had touched on that in the broadcast yesterday as well. The other thing too that stood out is that the response of this team, they're always responding now. This is not our big brothers Leafs. I keep saying this. It's a different team. This is not the team that we've grown up with the last like 5, 6, 7 years, right? So the response is right there. They keep coming back. They're calm. They're not getting rattled. And Florida, you can see that they're doing Florida things, right? They are trying to get the Leafs more involved. For former producer Zach was talking yesterday. We were messaging the other day, and he was saying that Florida wants to drag the Leafs into the mud, right? And the Leafs they're not they're they're, they're not doing it, right?
Yeah, they're not engaging.
Yeah, we saw many cases where like after the whistle, like, yeah, you have to give a couple of shots after the whistle, that's fine, but it doesn't extend beyond that. It doesn't extend past a couple of shots. Once you've made your point, you don't need to keep engaging. You're up in the series. You're right there in the game. Like, just they're keeping their heads, and Florida is not able to get in their heads right now, which I think is a testament to the coaching, and that's something that does need to continue as we go forward.
Yes. Yeah, without a doubt. And they're doing it as like a team right now. It's been very much a team effort. Obviously, Wall was fantastic last night. If Wall isn't fantastic, they're not winning that game, right? Like, he saved, I think it was like 3 goals saved above expected or something like that. Really just a really, really good performance of massive saves. Florida ends up with like an over 70% share of the expected goals at 5-on-5. It very much was what we expected from Florida. Like, if you asked me to give an over-under on what the 5-on-5 expected goal share was yesterday before the game, I would have said something in like this, maybe like this 60% range for Florida. They well exceeded that. The Leafs were just extremely opportunistic, and that's the way they're going to have to keep playing this series. So full value to them. They are, I'm not going to sit here and say that because they lost the expected goal share, they deserve to lose that game. They played exactly how they needed to play. They got the saves they needed to get. So they're deserving of being up 2-0 in this series. Now, we'll see if they can continue to remain opportunistic as things tighten up as the series goes on. That is going to be the big test for them here. Something to kind of monitor. But yeah, definitely so far, have been impressed with what we've seen from them. Florida also looks a little bit sluggish. They're able to play their game, but like with the puck, but off the puck, they don't look quite the same. I don't know if back-to-back cup finals is kind of wearing on them a little bit too here. We'll see. But yeah, something to also monitor going forward. Other game last night, the Jets and the Stars. I don't know what else to say about Mikko Rantanen at this point. What he's done right now in this playoffs, in his last few games especially, has been insane. I was actually thinking about it last night. I'm like, man, imagine being an Avs fan right now and how miserable that you'd be watching this. But then I'm like, actually, they actually just won a cup 3 years ago. So like, and they still have McKinnon, they still have McCarr. So like, yeah, it probably helps. Who am I to say that? As a guy, I'm a fan of a team who hasn't won a cup in, basically my lifetime. But that's got to sting. That's really got to sting. He is putting this team on his back right now. That was a really good performance from Dallas. Coming into the series, I thought, all right, Jets maybe found something there. They're going to settle in here. They match up well. Coming out of that game, the Jets made a nice push late, but coming out of that game, I'm a little bit concerned with what I saw. I think Dallas very much is the team that I was talking about Saturday night, where it feels like they're ready to blow the door open and arrive here and, fulfill their, cup dreams of the last few years. They've fallen a little bit short. It seems like maybe this is the year for them. But I mean, the West is such a gauntlet that I don't know. Obviously, there's a lot of series left to play, and I do expect better from Winnipeg going forward. But this feels like we were on a collision course for Dallas, Edmonton. You almost want to just fast forward to that series, which will be unbelievable if that is the case. I know we have Jet stuff, and I don't want that to be the case. But like, after what I saw last night, I'm not entirely optimistic that the Jets are going to be able to win 4 games here of the next, 4 of the next 6. Like they'd have to do.
So what I will say is not so fast, my friend. I viewed that game completely differently, right? I viewed that game as a Jets team that started out very slowly. For whatever reason, they didn't have any emotion in their game, and I think that there's I touched on this quite a bit when you go from series to series, and we saw from the Canucks series. Yes, I'm going to bring up the Canucks again. Sorry, right?
Of course, you have to.
Where we talked about the change in play when you go from series to series. So you had a certain way that the Canucks had to play that Nashville series, and now you have to change your style to play in the Edmonton series. So I think that it took Winnipeg a while to get going because of the lack of space that they had in the St. Louis series. That St. Louis series was very physical. And in hindsight, I think that I should have picked up on this. So I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't pick up on it. But it makes sense when you think about it because they had no space in that St. Louis series. That was a very physical series. And Dallas plays a different game, right? Dallas does play more of a skating game. Dallas is leakier on defense. You will get your chances there. So I think that it took Winnipeg a while to understand that you do have space, right? You do have space through the neutral zone, and unfortunately, I think that it took them to be down in that game to realize what they can do. Right now, we do need to account for score effects as well because Dallas has a 2-goal lead, so they're not going to be pushing as much either, right? So I think that's something I'll be looking for in game 2, where I would expect the Jets to get off to a better start and be able to push it from the beginning, right? So they weren't able to push it in the same way against the Blues because of the lack of space. So that's something I'm looking forward to. I'm not that discouraged by that Jets game 1. I think that once they started getting going, we saw the kind of team that they could be and why I felt that this was a good matchup for them. So one game is not going to change that for me. And I think Dallas will play better as well. I don't think that was Dallas's A game either. So as both teams step it up, I think it is a better matchup for Winnipeg here.
I just saw the ceiling of the Jets. I think when they were chasing that game and they looked good and they had a good push, but like you kind of saw where like they can't get to the same level as the Stars when the Stars want to turn it on. When the Stars do want to turn it on, they are borderline unstoppable because they have not just one line, not just two lines that can come at you and score goals. They have 3 lines, arguably 4 lines that can come at you and score goals. And that is like when they get the urgency and when they get the desire to do that, they can just start rolling through and just, I mean, you have to just hang on for dear life. And we saw that at points last night. And obviously they have the elite, scoring talent. The Jets do to an extent, but just not nearly as much of it. Feels like the Jets have to work a lot harder to manufacture goals, whereas for Dallas, it comes a little bit more naturally. I just don't think they quite have the same ceiling. And then you look at in net where like, even if Hellebuck has settled in where he looked good last night, I don't think he's like the gap between him and Ottinger is significant enough to mitigate the gap between these two teams' A games. So they're able to catch Dallas in those lulls because Dallas is a bit of a streaky team. They can be inconsistent. If they're able to catch them in those, then maybe they'll be all right. But you're gonna get Heiskanen back too. I know Morrissey didn't play. Morrissey will come back. That helps. But like Heiskanen is a step up on Morrissey, and he's what he can do out there and the amount of minutes he can log. We'll see how healthy he'll be. I would expect both these guys back pretty soon. But yeah, series is definitely far from over. I was a little bit different coming away from that than you were. I was a little bit concerned with my Jets positions. And I'm like, man, when the Jets get to the peak and when the Stars get to the peak of their game, there is a bit of a gap between these two teams. And I don't quite think the Jets can match what the Stars can do when they're both at the top there. So hopefully I'm wrong. We'll see. There's a lot of series left to go here. And I definitely would agree that I expect a better Jets start in game 2, especially being down 1-0 at home. There's going to be some real urgency from them game 2 there. So I would definitely expect that to translate into their first period after, they were being outshot 9-0 yesterday. At one point, it was like, oh my God, are we seriously doing this right now? Also very upset that we did not put Niederreiter in the anytime goal parlay.
Wow.
The second I said that and we didn't do it, I was like, this guy's scoring. I didn't bet it either. So joke's on me. All right. We do have a couple of games to get to tonight. I'm really looking forward to these games because nothing hits like playoff hockey. The road to the Cup starts FanDuel, your home for live bets all playoffs long. With new features like live SGPs, build a parlay, any game, any period, or stack multiple matchups onto one slip with same game parlay plus. And what's better than playoff hockey? Overtime playoff hockey. Get more from the game with live overtime markets. Right now, new customers can kick off the season with 200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Just place any $5 bet and you'll get 200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download FanDuel today and get more with North America's #1 sportsbook. Please play responsibly. Must be 21 plus for present in select states or 18 plus and present in DC or 19 plus and physically located in Ontario. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-866-531-2600 or visit connexontario.ca. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelp.ma.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. All right, so Money, first game of the night, and the timing is pretty much perfect for us to get to this game as the Canes just get nuked one more time right in front of my eyes here. This is absolutely insane. I am glad we spent a little bit more time talking about last night's games, because I would have probably locked in a plus 135, plus 140 on the Caps. Now we don't need to lock in a plus 140 because we can get a plus 150 on the Caps. Right now on FanDuel, Caps plus 140 at home to the Canes. Canes minus 170, a total of 5.5. Minus 115 to the over, minus 105 to the under. So Money, I will talk about why I like the Caps here soon. I don't know if you are in agreement, but while you are talking, I am actually going to go bet them right now because I don't want to. I don't want to wait any longer. At this point, I think I'd be stunned if this drifted even further, because that was a big Canes bet that just came through.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I'm just watching it. It's like it's interesting. So we all, so what we do every day, right? Like you and I, and like in the chat, all of us who watch hockey and bet on the sport and stuff, whether we do it consciously or subconsciously, we're constantly making lines in our heads and we're constantly valuing teams, right? Whether you want to believe it or not, it does come down to the price for all of us. So we all watched that game one. We all watched a dominant Carolina team, right? We watched a team that really should have won that game, probably 5 or 6-1 at least, right? And we saw a Washington goalie who played very well to keep his team in that game, and we saw the team that should have won win that game. We all saw that, right? So clearly we know that Carolina theoretically is the better team here.
Yes.
So now when you're making a line for game 2 and you want to bet on Carolina, right? How far would you go, right? We started at 130. We went to minus 150, 160, 170. Where do you think that this line should be, right? And we're constantly asking that question, whether we want to think about it or not, right? So the way I think about it is that at what point do we say that Carolina has gone too far, right? Everybody's number can be different, right? Someone in the chat may say, well, no, Carolina should be minus 210, right? It's fine, right? I saw a Washington team that was needed to feel out the difference in the way Carolina and Montreal play, right?
Yes.
And there is a difference there, and I think that Washington will be better. Washington will be better off as the series goes on, because they'll be able to instill their physical will on Carolina. Carolina is a highly skilled team. They control play. We've talked about this ad nauseum. 5-on-5 goals for share for Carolina. We know about all of that. That's all accounted for in the line. We know the way that Carolina plays. But Washington still has to keep that physical game up because Carolina does have smaller forwards, right? Theoretically smaller forwards, right? Compared to other teams that Washington plays against. So, and Charles is right. Carolina has the finisher now in Stankoven, right? So
I mean, somewhat. somewhat.
Yeah,
He's a
but
guy who's struggled with. He's scoring right now, but he's a guy who's very much struggled with finishing in the past as well.
Yeah, and like maybe this is the this is a better situation for him. I don't know, right? But the point is, at some point, these numbers will go too far, and you have to bet the other side, right? So at this point, I do like the Capitals. I think plus 150 is it's just way out of hand.
Yeah.
Carolina is the better team.
You can say it. You can say it. It's a gift.
Yeah. I mean, it's not. I'm not going to say that, right?
I know.
But I do think that it's gone too far. I do like Washington. I am going to be betting Washington with you. I will be joining you, and I think we've seen some resistance at the plus 150.
Yeah,
that might have been your influence just now, right?
I did blast it in a couple spots.
Yeah. So I think so I think plus 150. We're still up there at plus one. What's the highest we got here? Plus 148.
Yeah, there's as is mentioned, there's certain exchanges as well that maybe have some even better numbers, but or some, I don't know if we can talk about PPH accounts, but there's some, there's some stuff there too, plus 150. But yeah, plus 150, plus 145. Either way, I'm fine with all that. Yeah, it is pretty widely available.
Yeah. So I just think it's gone too far, and I think that I trust Carberry. I trust the adjustments he can make. They do need to get that puck out quicker. They're sitting back too much and letting Carolina's forecheck dictate the play. I think that Washington is good enough to start to flip that a little bit, and I would expect that as the series goes on. So there are adjustments to be made for Washington, and I trust Carberry is going to see those same things as well. And I think that as well as Carolina played in that game, Thompson was great, but it was still an overtime game. And I think that that's something that we need to take away from that game as well, that even though Carolina should have blown them out, they didn't. And this is a story that we've seen with this Carolina team before, right? They weren't able to finish. And I think that Washington needs to take advantage of that. And I think they will. I think that the plus 50, the plus 150, whatever, we've just gone too far here.
You had to just, go take my whole thing away from me. I basically have nothing to add here unless people want to hear me repeat basically what you said. But that was perfectly said. Yeah, I agree. Also to address Charles, I won't tolerate Stankoven disrespect. I will never tolerate that either. I love Stankoven as a player, the little engine that could. But he is shooting over 21% in these playoffs, and he is a career 8% shooter in the NHL. This is a guy who was in Dallas this season before he was traded, was shooting 6%, was really struggling to finish his chances. So I don't think going to Carolina has magically cured him as a shooter. That's the place that actually makes people worse shooters somehow because of where they throw pucks on the net from. But yeah, obviously he's riding the hot hand right now, and he's been able to find the back of the net. But yeah, this number's just gone way, way, way too far. The fact that we're getting I understand what we saw in game one, but like what we saw in game one was a Canes team that, again, there was a lot of stuff at the net, and yes, they had the greater share of high danger chances, but like Washington, when they did get their opportunities, they were quality opportunities, and Carolina struggled to score at a high rate based on the shots they were able to put towards the net. We've seen this story time and time again. This year could very well be different. There is a bit of a different feel around this Canes team right now. They have a bit more punch to their game, I'd say. They're a bit more feisty. I don't know if that's just from the years of losing in the playoffs or whatever it is, but there's a bit more jam to their game. They're a bit more physical right now on the forecheck, but like Washington is equipped to handle that. I don't think they were prepared with what was thrown at them. It was a very different style, obviously, from that Habs series. They could just go out there and be physical with the Habs, and that was the way they needed to approach that. Against Carolina, that's not the case. You have to be a lot more diligent and pay a lot more attention to how you are playing with the puck and how you are going to be in transition, how quickly you're going to get rid of the puck off your stick. They were not prepared for the onslaught that Carolina had, and it was still a game that got to overtime in the end. So this is just way too big of a number. I talked about it the other day too, how Carberry basically one of the best coaches in the league, if not the best coach in the league right now. He will make the necessary adjustments and give this team every chance to succeed. Also, game 2, after losing game 1 at home, you're definitely going to get a bit of a response here from the Caps. So I would be stunned if we did not get a better performance from Washington here. And, their bad performance last game still got them into overtime. So you're going to give me plus 150. I was ready. The only reason I didn't jump on the plus 135 this morning is because of the fact that I knew that, Carolina takes money every day. There was no rush to get into it. And thankfully I did wait, but I was genuinely okay with it at that number. So the number we're getting now is, I'll say it if you won't say it. It's a gift. It is a gift. That doesn't mean they're going to win, but it's a gift to get this kind of price right now on this game. That definitely does not mean they are going to win this game by any means, but we're getting, plus 150 on something that should probably be closer to about plus 120. So yeah. All right. One other game to get to here, the Oilers and the Knights. Oilers taking some money as well as we're doing this right now. The plus 120s that were available earlier are no longer available. Now down to plus 113. Plus 112. My eyes let me down here. Minus 134 for the Knights. Total of 6.5. Minus 112 to the over. Minus 108 to the under. So money. Are you part of this Oilers money?
Absolutely. You were talking, and I was just betting it right now. I'm on the Oilers. It's funny to say. I was thinking about this, that I'm actually more worried about Vegas's goaltending than I am about Calvin Pickard, right? And that I think says a lot. I am concerned about Adin Hill. He didn't have a good game. It's been a string of games now where he's just he doesn't look right, and he doesn't look right to me when I'm watching him compared to where I've seen him when he's on top of his game. So just watching him, he doesn't look right, and then the numbers back that up as well, right? He's not putting up his usual numbers that he has been the last couple of years. So that's a concern. The other concern too is that what is Vegas going to do differently here? When you look at Carolina,
hopefully they get Pietrangelo Dorofan back with help. But
but
for stylistically, it doesn't change things. You get some better players back, but they're still in the way they play, and the pace that Edmonton's playing at is that's still getting those guys back is not going to change that.
Yeah. When we talk about Washington, Carolina, there's tangible things we can see where an adjustment can be made, right? Mm-hmm. With Vegas and Edmonton, the only thing I can say is Vegas needs to skate faster, right? What else can they do? Just skate faster, right? And there's a big speed difference here, and that's something that we touched on when we were when we were talking about this game. Is that there is an element here where Vegas can be exposed on the back end, and I'm seeing that against Edmonton's defense, right? It's not like Edmonton has an outstanding defense, right? But similar to Toronto, even without Ekholm right now, Edmonton's got the right minutes allocation where everybody has slotted into where they need to play, right? And we're doing all this without McDavid scoring up on the score sheet yet, right? At some point, that's going to happen too. So I think that and Edmonton's getting production throughout their lineup, right? So I think that's a concern. Edmonton's a faster team right now. They have more depth, and dare I say that they don't have the worst goaltending in this series at this moment, right? So, and the only reason why we're getting this number on Vegas is, again, Vegas can't go down 2-0, right? Or they can't go down 0-2, just like the Panthers couldn't go down 0-2. And my question is, why not? Right? At what number are you going to say that it's gone too far? Right? Would you bet Vegas minus 250 saying they can't go down to 0-2? Right? So that number's already there for me because of, I think that there's a big difference in the way that these two teams are playing right now. And again, it's not a gift, but I think that we've gone too far on the Oilers here as well.
So Money, very reluctant to use the word gift here, which I understand. But this one is less of a gift for sure. This one is definitely less of a gift. It's not a gift. I agree with that. But yeah, I'm on the Oilers as well. I'm on the Oilers every which way. I've obviously talked about how I have some significant series investment in them as well from pre-flop, and then was on them game one. I'm going to be on them game two here. I'm just completely going to ride the wave until I'm given reason not to. I'm leaning into Pickard at this point. Why? How could you not? I don't think he's
They have.
ultimately that good. Yeah, I mean, maybe he turns into a pumpkin. Maybe he doesn't, and maybe he just rides a hot hand. Like we kept waiting for Aiden Hill to turn to shit when he went and took him to the cup that year. I can't remember how many times I bet overs or bet against him. It was like, this is the other shoe is going to fall. The other shoe is going to fall. The other shoe is going to fall. It never did, and they won the Stanley Cup. And Aiden Hill is now a Stanley Cup winning goaltender who all of a sudden looks like the guy we maybe thought he was once upon a time. Took a long time for that to come to fruition, but yes, the Oilers, you fall behind 2-0, or never mind for the Oilers. For Vegas, you go up 2-0 on home ice. 10 minutes into that game, the building is absolutely rocking, and then to just go completely lifeless the way they did. Edmonton made a couple of quick little in-game adjustments, and that was it. Vegas was done. Like they generated nothing the rest of the night. I can't remember the exact number, but I'm pretty sure it was 4 5-on-5 shots on net they had in the last 40 minutes. So in the second and third period, I think they had 4 shots on net at 5-on-5, which is wild. That was complete dominance. That was a statement game from the Oilers, who right now look like they will not be stopped at anything. They after we've seen, how many times have we seen this now? We saw it was a couple of years ago. We saw it was the Avs that lost. They didn't quite get to the Cup final, but they lost, and then it was like you could tell the next year it was like nothing was going to stop them. And then it was Florida who lost in the Cup final, and then they came right back the year after, and you could tell last year like nothing's going to stop this team, and they went on and won the Cup. Edmonton losing in the Cup final last year, and right now it looks like nothing is going to stop them again. This kind of has very similar vibes to Florida of last year. So obviously a lot of hockey still to be played, and there's a lot of good teams still left. So it's I'm not just going to go sit here and crown them, but this very much does feel like similar to what we kind of felt with Florida last year, where it was like you just got to lead into this and bet the Panthers every which way. Vegas still getting the market respect, though, that I don't necessarily think they deserve. I think their priors are really sticking with them. I think they've been struggling for a little bit here. Eichel, I mean, a great player, but has not looked quite the same. Stone obviously scores the 2 goals, but like doesn't quite look like Mark Stone either, where defensively he's been that shutdown guy as well, even when he's not producing. He doesn't have the speed to necessarily fill that role right now either. Edmonton's just coming at you in waves, and like you said, McDavid and Draisaitl haven't fully got going yet either. It's inevitable that they will. Yeah, I mean this is basically, if you're an Oilers fan, you're seeing everything that you could want to see from them. All the guys that they had brought in, everything is, all these pieces like Klingberg and Frederick and all these different guys they brought in during the season, and guys they've maybe brought in the past, even like guys like Arvidsson and stuff who haven't quite gelled or haven't quite been able to be out there. All of a sudden, it's all coming together at the right time, and they look like a force right now. So yeah, this is too big of a number. I'm with you on this, on the Oilers here tonight, and hopefully can take a stranglehold in this series and get this one done quickly, and then get a little bit of rest, because they did play a lot of hockey last year. So ideally they can wrap this one up quick and be ready for whatever comes at them in the next round. So 2 bets tonight. We have the Caps. Anything, I don't know about you, I would say anything plus 135 or better. Anything that's available right now, you can basically go out and bet, in my opinion. And then the Oilers, some of those 120s are gone, but there's still, 115 I think I'm good with, which is still also pretty widely available. What about you? You have kind of a stopping point here for the Oilers?
I'm on the Oilers. I have them down to plus 110. Like I just that's how high on them I am right now.
Yeah. So 2 best bets for us tonight.
Yeah, down to plus 110 on the road, up 1-0 in the series.
Yeah, I know that's a testament to how good they've been, and also like what we've seen from Vegas so far, which has been there's been nothing in these entire playoffs that have made me be like, okay, Vegas is Vegas is legit right now, or like this is a team that obviously the roster is really good. And I'm not trying to knock them; they're still a really good team, but like they're a little bit off the pace. They don't quite look like they're at the same level as years past, and they don't quite look like they're at the same level as some of these teams that are left right now. So, okay, do you want to build anytime goal parlay?
Let's do it.
All right.
Connor Brown, and Connor Brown, right?
Yeah, we have to throw Connor Brown in there, right? I think
What a
we have
player!
to.
Like what a revelation he's become here.
That was quite the goal the other night. I celebrated that one like it was a half player scoring. Honestly, I was pretty fired up when we got that one. I did not want any late Vegas, voodoo. Really happy we didn't have to deal with that. So Connor Brown plus 550 right
Someone
now.
mentioned Hyman.
Yeah, Hyman plus 250 at FanDuel as well.
What is McDavid right now?
McDavid is plus 155.
I do like that.
We got a Tom Wilson suggestion here from Ron.
We should go with what Ron is saying. He didn't post it in the chat yesterday, and I don't know if he's going to be okay with me saying this, but he should get credit for this. He called Protis to score in game 1. He messaged me about that, and like he did nail Protis in game 1. So I think that he's a hot hand right now. If he's saying Tom Wilson, we should go with Tom Wilson.
Tom Wilson, Connor Brown.
Let's see what the chat thinks, right? So like for me it's between Brown and Hyman.
So okay, we had a Brown suggestion there from Charles, and then we had a Hyman suggestion here from Jordan.
And I like McDavid too, even though he's plus 155.
You know what? We already have the Connor Brown one built out. Let's just lock that one in, and then this will be our official one. But maybe if you're watching this at home, since we're not doing a 4-goal parlay like we have in the past, we're round robining these. Maybe you can do like Wilson Brown, then you can do a Wilson McDavid and a Wilson Hyman, and hopefully we get like 2 of those 3 Oilers guys to score, and then you're laughing. So that'll be the anytime goal parlay for tonight. 2 best bets. We were on both the Dogs, the Caps, and the Oilers. That'll do it for us today. Tomorrow we will be back to break down what happened tonight. Hopefully a 2-0 night for us on the ice, and look ahead to not just the game 3s, not just the Leafs game 3 and the Stars game 2, but we'll also look ahead to Saturday's games or anything that's going on Sunday, because we will obviously have weekend shows. So we'll have a few more games to break down tomorrow. So that'll be a busier show. You won't want to miss that. I appreciate everyone for joining us. We will see you all tomorrow. Until then, enjoy the games tonight and good luck on your bets.